You have somewhere between 0 and several thousand tiny little batteries inside your cells. And right now, your cells are really running on a brownout. What you call being tired is actually just an energy crisis.
Welcome back to another episode of Don't Look Up, where we ask you to look up. We talk about cutting edge science. We talked about cutting edge topics. Today we're talking about these tiny batteries, Boomer, that you just described.
All right, so here's the pattern that I see all the time. A lot of type A people, they're doing everything right. They have trackers. They have their mattress that cools them down at night. They're hydrated where they think they are. And they're just tired all the time. They're hitting the wall at 3 p.m. They need that additional coffee just to feel human. When they're thinking they're protein maxing, their life maxing, their energy maxing, they're just maxing out stress. And it's having an effect on their physiology.
Yeah, so what we're going to talk about today is every cell in your body, except for your red blood cells, has a tiny power plant in them called the mitochondria. When you were in elementary school, maybe up to middle school, maybe even high school, you learned about the cell. The cell is, well, it's got multiple things, right? It's got a cell membrane, it has a nucleus, it has the Golgi bodies, it has a mitochondria. You learned maybe that your cell had one mitochondria.
I remember that.
Yeah. My daughter who's 15, I just saw her last year take her science class, and that's what they showed. The thing is that we have some cells in our body that have thousands of mitochondria per cell. We have others in our body that have 0. So red blood cells have 0. But the more energy demands a particular tissue has, the more mitochondria it's going to have per cell. And the most mitochondria per cell are actually in your reproductive organs. So your oocytes, your eggs if you're female, and sperm if you're male. Just after that, though, is your brain, your heart, your liver. So detoxification is super, super energy intensive. And your musculoskeletal tissue, right? And so what happens here is that the mitochondria are working by making energy, and they need oxygen to do that. Oxygen is what's called your final electron acceptor in the electron transport chain, which is a chain of proteins in the mitochondria that helps you make energy. The problem is that most of us have some element of dysfunction on the mitochondria. What we're supposed to do is take our food, especially carbohydrates and fat, break them down into their component parts, and take electrons from our food and bring it into this electron transport chain in the mitochondria, and then make the energy, make ATP, make about 150 pounds of ATP every single day. It's a huge amount of energy, but energy is not free. Our cells are like gasoline-powered cars. We make ATP, but we also make water, carbon dioxide, these things called free radicals, or reactive oxygen species. And the challenge is that 94% of US adults have some element of metabolic or mitochondrial dysfunction, which is huge. And this is why people are getting these brownouts, this brain fog, these concentration problems, mental health disorders, musculoskeletal issues, inflammation that never goes away. There are many reasons why mitochondrial function gets challenged in modern society. Things like insulin resistance, chronic stress, toxins in our environment, toxic people, not you, infections, and others. Yeah, no problem.
It's the nicest thing.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying. And so as a result of this, you're falling into a pattern that so many people are falling into now, which is they can't recover well. They can't get their brain to function well. They feel like inflammation never gets better. They get these nagging injuries that never get better.
Yeah, and so what role does methylene blue actually potentially play here?
This is interesting. So I think methylene blue is one of the most amazing compounds here because it works in the mitochondria in a way that both helps with energy production and helps with detoxification. Now, most things will give you either more energy or more detoxification. Let's take a detoxification one on just as an example. Glutathione, which is one of our master antioxidants, right? If you take glutathione and you mop up some of those free radicals, that oxidative stress, we call it, but there's not enough energy being made, you're not gonna feel much better. You might actually feel worse to some degree because you had to detox from all that garbage you had. On the other side of things, you can give something that gives energy, like caffeine, nicotine's another one, where they're giving you some energy, but they're also clocking the system, clocking your energy capacity. But you don't have enough detoxification, you're still gonna feel terrible. And so methylene blue is one of the few compounds called, what that means, just in lay terms, is that it helps with energy and detox. So I tell my patients all the time, you get low doses of methylene blue, 4 milligrams to 16 milligrams mostly. You get this redox capacity, more energy and more detoxification. And it does this in a very supportive way without causing a lot of overt symptomatology that can happen with you just take something for energy, just take something for detox.
So let's pan out for an example here. In 1977, I'm gonna take you back to your home state, New York.
Yeah.
New York City experienced a blackout for 25 hours. What happened in those 25 hours?
This episode is brought to you by Just Blue. Just Blue is fantastic, pharmaceutical grade Methylene Blue to help with energy and detoxification. We all need more energy. We all need more detox. I promise you. Get some Methylene Blue now. Optimize your energy right now. You'll feel it when you get to the right dose immediately. Not 30 days from now, not 6 months from now, right now. Precision dosed, physician formulated, including me. I'm a board certified internal medicine physician. Learn more at trescriptions.com. Now back to the show.
There were over 1,000 fires. There were 1,600 looted stores. And it was a crack that actually took the city almost a decade to recover from. 25 hours, one blackout. Now, let's take it to a brownout. Let's say everything was just running on low efficiency that day. Your subways are kind of running. In the best of times, they're kind of running, but these are really slow. Your lights are flickering on and off. Things just aren't normal. Your grocery store might not be able to stay open because the electricity is not available. You might not even be able to pay for something, especially in today's digital age. Now, this is essentially what's happening in your cells with a brownout. Your mitochondria aren't functioning, so things are just kind of schlepping along.
Nice.
Going slow. I had to take it full New York.
I love it. I love it. Yes, yeah. Totally New York. Yeah.
This is really what's happening in your cells on a day-to-day basis because you're not getting the energy that you need.
Yeah, I love the word of schlepping. Thank you for adding that today. We have to think what's actually going to support these tiny batteries working well in our cells. And this requires multiple different levels. But some of the easy things are to try to change your environment as best you can, optimize your sunlight exposure, because our batteries like sunlight. They like it because a number of different reasons, because they help with vitamin D production, which is important, but they also have various wavelengths that actually support mitochondrial function directly. So no, we do not make energy from light directly like plants.
We don't have chlorophyll.
We don't have chlorophyll. We don't have it. But we do have this fantastic way of optimizing our metabolism and our energy production with sunlight exposure at the right times. What can also screw you up is if you have if you have light exposure right before you're trying to go to bed, and even sunlight right before you go to bed. Like if you live in a place
23 hours of sunlight during summer, let's say you're in Svalbard.
Yeah, it's hard to go to sleep, right? And so the main things to think about mitochondrial function are optimizing your day-to-day easy things. Trying to get good sleep. That's easy, right? Trying to move every day, right? Trying to hydrate well. Trying to improve on your relationships and decrease your stress. Stress is such a big, big issue here because if you have ongoing stress all the time, you're always in that fight or flight. You're always in that, it's called the sympathetic nervous system aspect of your biology, your autonomic nervous system, which has two branches. The other one's called your parasympathetic. If you're always in sympathetic, you're not going to recover. You're not going to detox. You're not going to be able to rest. You're not going to take stress off the mitochondria because if you're always in stress mode, your mitochondria think they have to continue to make more energy, and they can't do it. They can't do it effectively for a long time. And what happens is they shift over and they go into another state where they're actually trying to protect themselves. And this is when you start feeling worse and worse and worse. But you're trying to make more energy and you can't, okay? So you have to break that cycle. You can break that cycle. I've used Methylene Blue for a long time as a way to break it because it helps with the energy side of things. Yes, you might have overt stress that's coming out from the outside, that's true. But if your cells aren't getting enough energy, there's nothing you're gonna be able to do long-term to be able to get that stress to go away and also feel better at the same time.
All right, so one of the things that we want to tie in here is just modern life. Like modern life is not exactly the most ideal situation for your mitochondria. We're talking about lights all the time. Electricity didn't exist until the 1800s, and now we're trying to find ways to actually disengage from Netflix at midnight.
Right, you've seen those graphs, right? The graphs of electricity coming up and all the chronic diseases going up as a result of it.
Of course. Electricity didn't come online until a couple hundred years ago. We have stress that is absolutely ubiquitous. No longer are we working 40-hour work weeks, although back in the Industrial Revolution, they actually worked more.
They did.
But when people were coming home, they were actually disconnecting from work.
Yes.
It wasn't like you were 24/7 available. Now you are.
Yeah.
And so this lifestyle and then being able to transport ourselves across time zones, while I love to travel, is not the healthiest thing to do for your body. So this lifestyle is actually not conducive for healthy mitochondria. This is also why I carry basically Methylene Blue with me all the time.
Yes.
It is because if you're going, let's say yesterday, most of us came from various time zones into Washington, D.C., your mitochondria are going to need a little assistance. And Methylene Blue can be that assistance.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that sometimes what you'll hear from people is that, if you're general healthy, you don't need to support your mitochondria. You just do exercise and do weights and things like that. But in general, again, 94% of US adults have some element of mitochondrial dysfunction. My guess is that you that are listening fall into that category. If you don't, if you're one of the 6% people that are metabolically healthy, amazing. Thumbs up for both of you. 2 thumbs, 4 thumbs up for you, right? It's not that common anymore. Now, this is the thing. We all want to be resilient. We all want to be able to get our things done and be able to do the things we want to do. And sometimes get a bad night of sleep, sometimes go on an airplane, and sometimes be able to actually get off an airplane and feel like your brain is working. So this is where Methylene Blue really can come in, because it helps with that energy and detox right now. You don't have to wait 30 days or a month or it's 3 months later. I mean, Boomer and I were big fans of optimizing cellular biology, using vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, and testing your blood, stool, and urine. But that takes time. It doesn't happen immediately. So Methylene Blue is one of the things you can start right now, as long as you get a clean source, as long as you know exactly what you're taking, that's purity and potency tested, and lower doses, not high doses, somewhere around 4 milligrams to maybe as high as 25 milligrams, but you don't need a lot, just a little bit. And you'll notice that you're gonna get a boost. Your elevation of energy is gonna go like this without feeling stimulated, and you're just be able to go for longer.
All right, so let's wrap things up here. You're not tired because you're getting old. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you just have a dim power grid. Guess what, guys? It's time to fix the grid.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody, to another episode of Don't Look Up, where we ask you to look up. If you like this, don't forget to like and comment and share. We read every single comment, and we'll check you next time.